In the US, we're told that having a child is just the natural next step. We're told that you're never truly ready, so just dive in. But here is the cold, hard reality. Raising a child in America today costs an average of $310,000 before they even set foot on a college campus. And yet, the money isn't the real problem. The real problem is the relationship tax. Most couples don't fight when they decide to have kids. They're happy, they're nesting, they're picking out nursery themes from Pinterest. They fight after. They fight when the sleep deprivation hits, when the 401k contributions stall, and when they realize they never actually agreed on what their life was supposed to look like. Today, we aren't just talking about diapers and strollers. We are pulling back the curtain on the psychological and financial architecture of parenthood in the 21st century. If you're even remotely considering starting a family, you cannot afford to skip this.
To understand this, let's look at a couple we all know, Ross and Rachel. They're in their early 30s, living in a major U.S. city. Ross is a tenured professional, stable, academic, loves a good spreadsheet. Rachel is a rising star in fashion. Her career is finally hitting its stride, she's making a name for herself, and she's finally earning the salary she dreamed of back when she was waitressing. Life is good. It's stable. Until one Saturday morning, over expensive lattes, Rachel says,
"So, are we doing this? Should we start thinking about a baby?"
Absolutely. We're in a great place. We've got the savings, the health insurance is solid. Let's do it.
But here's the thing. Thinking about a baby usually stops at the color of the walls in the guest room. It rarely enters the territory of, who is going to sacrifice their 2 p.m. presentation when the daycare calls because the baby has a fever? Or, are we okay with not retiring until we're 75 because we're prioritizing a private prep school?
let's look at the questions Ross and Rachel avoided, which you might want to ask yourself.
Question 1. The financial illusion. Can we actually afford a child?
When Rachel starts calculating, she looks at the immediate. The hospital bill, even with good insurance, that out-of-pocket maximum is a sting. The crib, the organic onesies. Ross's response is the classic, we'll figure it out. Our parents had us when they were making half of what we make now.
But figuring it out is not a financial plan. It's a recipe for chronic, low-grade cortisol. In the U.S., the cost of raising a child has outpaced wage growth for decades. We aren't just talking about survival. We're talking about opportunity cost. Every $1,000 you spend on a premium Up-A-Baby stroller or a developmental music class is $1,000 that isn't compounding in your Roth IRA. If you start a 529 college savings plan, but stop your own retirement contributions to fund it, you aren't being a hero parent. You're becoming a future financial burden to your child.
The conflict? Rachel wants a line item budget. Ross wants faith. The reality? Faith doesn't pay for a 6% annual hike in health insurance premiums. You need to know your burn rate. How much does your life cost now, and how much breathing room do you have left?
Question 2 and 3. The career paradox. Is now the right time? And whose career takes the hit?
This is where the tension gets real. Rachel is finally up for a senior director role. If she takes maternity leave now, she fears she'll be mommy-tracked, the invisible phenomenon where women are passed over for the high-stakes accounts because they're perceived as having split priorities. Ross, with the best of intentions, says, maybe you should take a year off. I'll push for the department head position. I'll pick up the slack. Rachel smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Because she knows that in the US, a temporary break often results in a permanent wealth gap. This is the motherhood penalty. For every child a woman has, her earnings decrease by an average of 4%, while men's earnings often increase, the fatherhood bonus.
You have to ask, are we okay with becoming a single-income household in an economy designed for two? And if we stay dual income, who is the default parent? If it's always the person with the more flexible job, that person's career will never actually reach orbit. You aren't just deciding on a baby. You're deciding on the power dynamics of your marriage for the next 20 years. Question 4 and 5. The infrastructure of parenting. Daycare versus one parent, and the lifestyle funding.
Let's talk about the daycare dilemma. In cities like New York, San Francisco, or Austin, infant care can easily cost $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Ross looks at the math and says, wait, if you're paying $30,000 a year for daycare and your take-home after taxes and 401k is $50,000, you're basically working for $20,000. Is it even worth it? Rachel's answer is the one every couple needs to prepare for. Yes, because my professional identity and my future earning potential aren't just expenses to be cut. Then there's the lifestyle trap. We live in the age of the aesthetic baby. You don't just want a child, you want the lifestyle of a modern parent. The $40 a bag organic puffs, the wooden Montessori toys, the travel-friendly gear. The point? You are not just raising a human, you are funding a brand. If you and your partner aren't aligned on whether your kid goes to the local public school or a $40K a year private academy, you are heading for a head-on collision.
If you're watching this and feeling a knot in your stomach, good. That means you're paying attention. The goal here isn't to convince you to stay child-free. It's to move you from accidental parenting to intentional parenting. Most people stumble into these conflicts at 3 a.m. when the baby has colic and they haven't slept in 3 days. That is the absolute worst time to discuss the merits of a single-income household. None of these questions have perfect answers. There is no magic number in a Chase savings account that says, green light. But not asking them? That's where the real cost begins. The cost isn't paid in dollars. It's paid in resentment. Question 8. The stress test. What if things go wrong?
What if the big tech layoffs hit Ross? What if Rachel has a medical complication that keeps her out of work longer than the FMLA allows? Most U.S. couples operate on best-case scenario logic. We'll be fine because we've always been fine. But children add a layer of fragility to your life. You can't just hustle and live on ramen for a month when you have a toddler in the house. Are you financially strong, or are you just emotionally hopeful? In the U.S., one medical emergency or one job loss can wipe out a decade of savings. If you're adding a dependent to that equation, you need more than hope. You need a margin of safety.
Let's get into the real weeds. 1 child or 2? Because in America, the cost of the second child isn't 2x. With childcare and housing, it feels like 4x. Suburbs or city? Do you trade the culture of the city for the better school district in the burbs? Will we live near the grandparents for free help, even if it means moving to a state where we have no friends? Whose dream matters more when the promotions clash?
Are we okay with the fact that for the next 18 years, someone else's needs will always come before ours? Having a child isn't just a financial decision. It's a lifestyle decision. It's a career decision. Most importantly, it's a relationship decision. If you and your partner aren't aligned on these answers, that child, the one you dreamed of, the one that was supposed to be the missing piece, stops being our child and starts becoming our problem. It becomes the reason you're tired, the reason you're broke, the reason you don't recognize the person sleeping next to you.
Ross and Rachel sat down and actually had these talks. It wasn't one dinner. It was a series of long, sometimes uncomfortable walks in Central Park. They realized they weren't ready right now. They decided to wait another year, max out their baby emergency fund, and have Rachel finish her current project so she'd have the leverage to negotiate a flexible return-to-work plan. They didn't say no to a baby. They said yes to a future where they didn't end up resenting each other.
So here is my challenge to you. If you're watching this with your partner, don't just watch it. Pause it. Talk about it. Ask each other, are we ready financially, or are we just emotionally caught up in the idea of a baby? Parenthood is the most rewarding, difficult, expensive, and beautiful thing you will ever do. But it is a journey that requires a map. Don't start driving without one. I want to hear from you in the comments. What is the one question you think modern couples avoid the most? Is it the daycare costs, the career sacrifice, or the fear of losing your old self? Let's get real in the comments. And if this helped you see the total cost of the big decisions, hit that subscribe button. We talk about the things that actually matter for your life.